Hi, everyone. I want to share a story that's very close to my heart. It's about failure, shame, and a moment when I thought all hope was lost. You might not believe in prayer until you watch this, but I promise this is a journey worth hearing. I never imagined I'd be here, sitting in a dimly lit room, staring at the bare walls of what used to be my thriving business office, feeling the crushing weight of defeat. The hum of the city outside seemed distant, like life was continuing on some other plane, one I was no longer part of. I had a business, a real one, not some side hustle or weekend project. I poured my heart, my soul, my savings into it. For years, I dreamed of success, the freedom, the respect, the chance to build something meaningful that would outlast me. But then, it all fell apart, the dream that turned into a nightmare. The early days were magical. I remember waking up with excitement, jotting down ideas, making calls, meeting people who believed in me. There was a fire inside me, a hunger that pushed me forward even on the hardest days. Friends and family cheered me on. "You've got this," they said. "You're going to make it big." I believed them. I believed myself. But business is ruthless. Markets shift, customers disappear, money dries up, and somewhere along the way, mistakes piled up. The financial strain became unbearable. The stress ate away at my confidence. The phone stopped ringing. Orders stopped coming. The moment it hit me, failure was real. I remember the exact day I realized I was done. The bank called me. Overdraft fees, missed payments. The landlord gave me one last notice. I had to tell my team, 5 talented people who had believed in my vision, that we were closing. Saying those words crushed me. I had never felt so small, so defeated. The shame settled in deep. It wasn't just about losing money. It was about losing respect, from others and from myself. You know, shame is a quiet, insidious thing. It creeps into your mind and tells you that you're worthless, that you're a failure not just in business, but as a person. I stopped answering calls. I stopped going out. I hid from the world. Some days I felt like I couldn't even breathe. I was trapped in a prison of my own making, locked behind bars of fear and regret. Where was God in all this? And then, in the middle of that darkness, a question came crashing in. Where was God in all this? If there really was a loving God, why did he let me fall so hard? Why was I abandoned when I needed him most? I'd been raised in church. I knew about prayer, but I was angry. I was bitter. I wanted answers. And when they didn't come, I was ready to give up on everything, including my faith. One night, after weeks of despair, I found myself sitting alone in the dark, my heart heavy, my mind racing. I decided to try something I hadn't in a long time. I prayed. Not the neat, polished prayers I learned as a kid, but down, honest cries from a broken man. I didn't ask for miracles. I didn't expect answers. I just spoke. I told God about my shame, my fear, my pain. Why this story matters. This is where my story begins. Not with success, but with failure, shame, and a desperate prayer. Over the next few parts, I'll share how that prayer opened a door I thought was sealed shut, how I found hope in the most unlikely place, and how prayer, real, honest prayer, became the anchor that saved me. Thanks for being here tonight. You might not believe in prayer until you hear what happened next. When I finally prayed that night, it wasn't like in the movies or the Sunday sermons. I didn't have the right words. I wasn't polished or rehearsed. I was just a broken man speaking into the silence. I said something like this: God, if you're there, I don't know if I believe in all this anymore, but I'm hurting. I'm ashamed. I don't know what to do next. Please, if you hear me, help me find a way. I remember feeling vulnerable, like I was standing naked in front of the universe. It was terrifying and freeing at the same time. I didn't get a booming voice or a lightning bolt, but something happened. A quiet calm settled over me, not the kind that fixes problems overnight, but a deep, steady peace I hadn't felt in months. It was like the weight on my chest lifted just a little bit. For the first time since the collapse of my business, I slept through the night without waking up in a panic. I'm no theologian. I don't have all the answers. But I learned that prayer isn't about magic or instant fixes. It's about connection. It's about opening your heart, even when you're scared or angry or broken. When you pray honestly, you let your deepest feelings out. You stop pretending. And sometimes that's the first step to healing. After that first prayer, I started opening up, first to God, then to people. I reached out to a friend I hadn't talked to in months. I admitted my failure and my shame. And to my surprise, he didn't judge me. He listened. He shared his own struggles. We prayed together. That connection reminded me I wasn't alone. The next weeks weren't easy. I still had bills to pay, doubts to fight, and a future that looked uncertain. But I started praying every day, sometimes for just a minute, sometimes longer. I prayed for strength, for guidance, for forgiveness, both from boss and from myself. I prayed for peace in the chaos. One day, almost by accident, a new idea came to me. A simple idea, really, but one that didn't feel forced. It felt like a gentle nudge. I started exploring ways to use my skills differently. I thought about helping others who had failed, who were lost like me. I began volunteering, sharing my story, and slowly rebuilding my confidence. One of the hardest things was forgiving myself. I kept replaying every mistake, every missed opportunity, every wrong decision. But prayer helped me see that holding on to guilt was like carrying a heavy chain. I had to learn to forgive myself, not because I was perfect, but because I deserved to move forward. I learned that healing takes time. Prayer didn't instantly fix my problems, but it gave me the patience to face each day. I trusted that I wasn't abandoned, that even in the darkest moments, there was a purpose, even if I couldn't see it yet. Another thing that changed me was gratitude. Every day I tried to find one thing to be thankful for. A kind word, a sunny morning, a phone call. Gratitude shifted my mindset from scarcity to abundance, from despair to hope. If you're watching this and feeling lost or ashamed, I want you to know you're not alone. Prayer isn't about perfection or certainty. It's about being honest with yourself and God. And sometimes the smallest prayer, whispered in the darkest hour, can start a healing that changes your life forever. In the next part, I'll share how those prayers led to unexpected miracles, new relationships, and a fresh start. The first sign, a friend's unexpected call. A few weeks after I began praying regularly, I received a phone call that changed everything. It was from a friend I hadn't spoken to in over a year, Mark. We used to work together in the early days before my business took off, but after things went south, I had pulled away from everyone. Mark told me he'd heard about what happened and wanted to check in. I was hesitant at first. The shame still weighed heavy, but I answered. We talked for hours. I told him everything, the failure, the loneliness, the prayers. He didn't judge me. Instead, he shared his own story of struggle and hope. It was the first real connection I'd had in a long time. After that call, Mark mentioned an opportunity at his new company, a small growing firm that could use someone with my skills. I was reluctant. I had always dreamed of being my own boss, and the idea of working for someone else felt like admitting defeat. But prayer had taught me something crucial. Humility is part of the journey. I prayed about it, and with a deep sense of peace, I accepted the job offer. That job wasn't glamorous, and the pay was modest, but it was a start. Starting over wasn't easy. I wrestled with feelings of failure and self-doubt. Would I ever succeed again? Would I ever feel worthy? But each day I showed up. I did the work. I prayed for strength and focus. Slowly my confidence returned. Not overnight, but steadily. One day during a particularly stressful week, I almost gave up. I felt overwhelmed by deadlines, pressure, and the ghost of my failed business. But instead of spiraling, I paused. I prayed. I reminded myself of the peace I had felt before. I asked for courage to keep going. And then I took a deep breath and kept moving forward. At work, I started connecting with colleagues. I shared bits of my story, and to my surprise, they were supportive. Some had faced failures of their own. We prayed together. We encouraged each other. That sense of community became another miracle, a reminder I wasn't alone. Months passed and small victories began to appear. I completed projects successfully. My manager praised my work. I felt appreciated. Those moments weren't just professional wins. They were personal triumphs over despair. Each one reinforced the power of faith and persistence. One of the biggest lessons I learned was to surrender control. I had spent so long trying to force success on my own terms. Prayer taught me to release that grip, to trust the timing, to be patient, to accept that sometimes the path looks different than I imagined. Beyond work, prayer helped me heal broken relationships. I reached out to family members I had pushed away. I apologized where I had been wrong. I forgave where I had been hurt. Prayer gave me the courage to take those first difficult steps toward reconciliation. As my life slowly stabilized, I started thinking about what really mattered. I realized that success wasn't just about money or status. It was about purpose, about impact, about being able to help others who were struggling. That realization was another miracle, a new vision for my life. With this new purpose, I began volunteering at a local nonprofit that supports people who had lost their jobs. I shared my story. I listened to theirs. We prayed together. We found strength together. That experience was deeply healing for me and for them. Through all these experiences, I learned something profound. Miracles don't always come in grand, dramatic ways. They often come quietly, in a call, a moment of courage, a shared prayer. They come when you least expect it, but most need it. If you're struggling right now in business, in life, in faith, I want you to remember this. Keep praying, keep hoping, keep trusting, even when it feels like nothing is happening, because miracles are often working behind the scenes. Tonight, I challenge you to take one small step in faith. Maybe it's reaching out to someone you've hurt. Maybe it's praying honestly for the first time in a while. Maybe it's accepting help when you need it. Whatever it is, know that every step forward matters. There was a time when it felt like everything was closing in. Pressure at work increased, family tensions flared up again, and doubts crept in like unwelcome shadows. One particular night, I was sitting alone in my living room, the weight of it all pressing down on me. I could feel the temptation to give up creeping in, the old voice telling me I wasn't good enough, that my business failure had marked me for life. But instead of succumbing, I closed my eyes and prayed. I didn't have the right words. I just spoke from my heart. God, I don't know what to do. I feel lost. Please help me. That prayer, raw and simple, was a lifeline. A few days later, out of nowhere, an opportunity came knocking. It was an invitation to speak at a local community event about entrepreneurship, not as a successful business owner, but as someone who had failed and found a way back. At first, I was terrified. What if people judged me? What if I stumbled over my words? But I prayed about it, and slowly I felt a calm wash over me. I accepted. Standing on that stage, sharing my story, the failures, the shame, the prayers, I saw faces in the crowd nodding, some wiping tears. It was in that moment I realized something powerful. Vulnerability is strength. Being honest about our struggles opens doors for healing, for ourselves and for others. After the event, people came up to me with their own stories of hardship. We started meeting regularly, sharing prayers, supporting each other. This network became a source of encouragement and strength, reminding me that no one is meant to walk alone. Prayer became the glue holding us together. Meanwhile, at home, the shifts I was experiencing started affecting my marriage. My wife had been distant, hurt by the stress and uncertainty we had faced. But as I grew in faith and humility, I reached out with love and openness. We prayed together. Slowly, the walls between us began to come down. Forgiveness was crucial. I had to forgive myself for the mistakes I made. I had to forgive the people who hurt me along the way. And I had to ask for forgiveness. Prayer helped me do all of this with grace and patience. At work, my renewed attitude didn't go unnoticed. I was entrusted with more responsibilities. I found ways to bring my values into my job. Honesty, compassion, integrity. That alignment of career and faith gave me a new sense of purpose. It wasn't just the big moments that mattered. The small things, a kind word, a quiet moment of peace, a smile from a colleague, became reminders of grace. Each day, I counted those blessings and thanked God for them. Fear of failure is powerful. I know because it nearly kept me from trying again. But with prayer, I learned to face that fear. I reminded myself that God's love is not dependent on my success. That gave me courage. For I saw every setback as a loss. Now I see every challenge as an opportunity, a chance to grow, to learn, to trust more deeply. Prayer changed my mindset from scarcity to abundance. Feeling the blessings multiply, I wanted to give back. With prayer and support, I started a small mentoring program for entrepreneurs in crisis. Helping others gave me joy and fulfillment I hadn't felt in years. Through all this, my relationship with God deepened. Prayer became less about asking and more about listening, about trusting, about surrendering to a love bigger than my own plans. If you're listening and feeling stuck, I want you to know, breakthroughs come in their own time. Sometimes it's slow, sometimes it's messy, but prayer is a path to those breakthroughs. This part of the story shows that faith isn't just about miracles happening to us. It's about how those miracles transform us, how prayer changes our hearts, our relationships, and our paths. I hope my journey encourages you to keep praying, to keep trusting, even when it feels hard. Looking back, it's hard to believe how far I've come. From the lowest points, business failing, feeling ashamed, wondering if there was any hope, to today where I feel stronger, more peaceful, and truly grateful. The truth is, prayer didn't fix everything overnight. It wasn't magic or a quick fix. It was the steady, persistent light guiding me through the darkest days. Every time I prayed, even when I felt nothing, I was planting seeds. Seeds of hope, faith, and change. One of the most surprising things I learned is that prayer brings blessings in unexpected ways. Sometimes it's not the answer you want right away, but a new opportunity, a new perspective, or a renewed relationship. Prayer helped me see these blessings clearly and appreciate them. This way prayer softened my heart also helped me heal broken relationships. My marriage, once on the brink, is now stronger than ever because we invited prayer into our struggles. Prayer taught me patience and forgiveness, both with myself and others. Another powerful outcome was discovering purpose beyond my own pain. Through prayer, doors opened to help others facing similar struggles. Whether it was mentoring or simply listening, giving back became a source of joy and fulfillment. At its core, prayer changed my inner landscape. It calmed my anxieties. It filled me with hope. It reminded me daily that I am never truly alone. If you're listening and feel skeptical or unsure, I understand. Prayer isn't about having all the answers. It's about opening your heart, being honest, and inviting something greater into your life. Even when it feels like nothing is happening, your prayers matter. I want to challenge you, whatever you're facing right now, to try it. Set aside a moment each day to pray, to speak honestly from your heart. Don't worry about perfect words, just begin. The power of prayer doesn't stop with you. It ripples out, touching your family, friends, community. When you choose faith and hope, you inspire others to do the same. Let me leave you with a simple prayer. God, thank you for being with us in our struggles. Help us to trust, to hope, and to keep moving forward, even when the road is hard. Fill us with peace and courage today. Your story is still being written. There will be hard chapters. There will be joyful moments, but prayer is a constant thread, a source of strength, healing, and transformation. What's one thing you can do today to invite prayer into your life? If this story touched you, please like, share, and comment below. Tell me your story or questions about prayer. I want to hear from you. And if you want more stories and encouragement, hit subscribe and join this journey of faith together. Thank you for listening. Remember, no matter how hard life gets, prayer can be the light that leads you home.